What's up, guys? Sorry it's been a while. I've been super busy. Life and yeah, that kind of stuff, work. But I wanted to make this video because I got to run the G5. I finally found some time. Not was it last weekend? Man, I just lose track of time lately. I don't think it was last weekend, but maybe it was. I don't know. Either way, I took the Ghost out and I took the Baja out. I was thinking maybe I'll get like a tank. I didn't even bring enough gas to run more than a tank, because I figured I'll run a tank through each one of them. This, of course, it was the maiden run, so I didn't know what to expect, guys. I was blown away, man. This thing actually goes really, really good with a King Motor 30.5 cc. I mean, who would have thought it actually goes good? It was ripping donuts. I didn't even, of course, the engine's already been broken in. It was just getting to that point where, when I had it in the X2, because that's what it came with, it was just getting to the point where it was getting more and more powerful before I had that issue with the gas tank and pulled it out and replaced the motor with the G320 that's in it now. But the engine was it actually moved this big ass heavy rig, and so yeah, I was pumped just to see it go. You know what I mean? And I really like the way it handles. It stops wicked good. Like I could not believe how good this thing stopped. I'm so sick and tired of dealing with the brakes on that and on that. The brake system on that has been upgraded and it does work better, but it seems like I'm constantly fucking with it. You know what I mean? Like, and the same goes for the Baja. This thing, I put the servo, you guys seen, I just finished building the thing. I just put it together, no adjustments, nothing. I just put it together the way I thought it should be. And, of course, I tested it before I let the tires hit the ground, and dude, this thing locks it up, like just locks up. You actually have to, I think I might have to back it off a bit. It's so, it's so damn tight. And yeah, so I'm impressed with that. And again, but the brakes on this came sprung already. It's the same design. It looks like the same metals and everything that Kraken is using, but they put a spring, they put a spring on each side of the caliper. So it keeps it separated nicely. But yeah, and that's a King Motor throttle servo, or yeah, a King Motor steering servo, whatever. But guys, I was impressed, and I really like it. I like the way it handles. I didn't get to run it very long though. I would tell this great story, and I intended on trying to get some video with my cell phone. I was going to put it on a tripod or something, because again, I still haven't ordered a camera. But the front, I don't want this fan to be, again, if you haven't tried this yet, if you have a stand like this one, and it's, you want to be able to spin it around and stuff, if you have a four-wheeler like this, I can't remember what these are called, but if you have one of these, it's pretty handy. It just makes it a hell of a lot easier to use the stand. But what happened was there's a bolt. Let me see if I can turn the light on. I don't know if I can, but there's a bolt right here, and it fell out. So the C-hub was like, it was cocked. It was falling inward, so I still ran it. I was so excited. I was still running the thing, and I was just turning only in one direction, so that it wouldn't, the tire wouldn't fall under or, fall inward. But yeah, so, and it turns out that size bolt, I didn't have any of them. This thing's, I mean, it's so damn beefy. Every bolt on it is like ginormous compared to the shit that they use in the Bajas and in the, the 5T platform. Every bolt is bigger. It's just, everything about it is huge. So I ended up taking a look around it, see what, trying to figure out what I could, where I could steal a bolt. And it turns out these here, because of course I lost it, you know what I mean? These here fit, and I happen to have one of this size in a spare bolt box, but it's a countersunk. I mean, I could get away with using it there, so I took the one from here and I replaced it up front, you know what I mean? But so I could either put the countersunk one in there. I didn't run it with the body on it. When I got there, I realized that when I got to the field, I realized I forgot to bring the body mounting shit, which I'm like notorious for. I do it all the time with this thing, and apparently I do it now with this. So yeah, I didn't run it with the body on it, which was fine anyway, because that carburetor, it came off of that engine after me messing with it at the track, so it was all out of whack, and I had to try to dial it in again. But it ran great, man. To see this thing go, even with the body off, it's just a sexy machine. And like I said, it ran pretty damn good. I was impressed with the way it ran. So I'm looking forward to getting it back out. I think I'll just do maybe buy that kit that replaces these here, the quick release or whatever. But maybe not, because again, we built this together, guys, and the amount of money that went into it, and was just so minimal. I appreciate all the help. I think some people in the comments maybe got the wrong idea that I was begging for parts and that kind of thing. That's not how this all happened, guys. The guys that donated parts to this project, they offered to. They actually offered to. So I thought that was cool, and of course I'm not going to pass it up. When we're trying to do a budget build, I'm trying to build a truck on a budget. Everybody wanted to see it built, you know what I mean? People have been waiting for me to build this thing. So there it is. I got to run it. It runs awesome. I was impressed with it. I'm sorry I don't have any running video. Like I said, I planned on setting my cell phone up if I ran it for more than 10 or 15 minutes. I was trying to get it going and get it dialed in, but then that bolt fell out. So that was that. But then I pulled out the Baja, and that's a different story, and I'll tell you that in a second. I just realized, though, I have a set of these tires, and they're brand new. They came off of the X2, and I'll never use them again because I know I won't. I'm gonna sell them. If anybody's interested in them, I put them in a bag. The other set's right there. They're just muddy from the track, but and I don't mean brand new. I drove them in the grass, I think, once, and they've been around the track a few times. I've been to the track with them, I think, maybe a half a dozen times. But the track is clay, so they haven't been ripping up and down the pavement streets or whatever. So if anybody's interested, let me know. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to list them on the Facebook group and see if I can get rid of them, because I just realized I'm not going to use them, and they're just taking up space. My Rebo is sitting there rim and tireless because the Duratrax 3.8-inch monster truck wheels, the big ass, they're huge, that I bought for this. I think I spent close to $100 when I was building this. They're just not what I wanted, and I decided I want some dish race style, truggy wheels. So I'm going to go ahead and buy some, but I had posted a picture and mentioned that I was buying truggy wheels on one of the Facebook groups. If you guys like Rebos, there's a really good Rebo group on Facebook. And one of the guys offered to buy them off me. So they're boxed up and they're gone. He kept his word and sent me the money today via PayPal. So kind of sad to see him go. I really do like them. I like the way they look. I mean, shit, they look beefy as hell on that truck, but they're just not what I wanted. I guess I wanted something different, and me being new to RC at the time, I still really didn't know what I liked, and hadn't seen enough in person to know what I really wanted. So I guess it is what it is. You live, you learn. The good news is I won't be spending any additional money to buy the new set of wheels for it, wheels and tires, because that money is going to buy me a set of truggy tires. But the Baja, I had it out, man. It was ripping. I almost forgot that I was supposed to bed that clutch. I forgot that I was, I hadn't run it yet, that FS clutch. So first of all, that 9500 spring is a bit much. One of the guys that's got a lot of experience that Rich, the guy that hooked me up with the pipe, he mentioned that I may not want that spring. Maybe it's geared a little bit more towards like drag races, and it is a high RPM spring. But man, when I hit it, put it this way, the SCZ in this setup, which is a pretty heavy setup, is going to wheelie. It was lifting the wheels off the ground, and then I stopped myself and said, dude, what are you doing? Bed this clutch, take it easy. So then I'm going back and forth in the field with it. Everything's going good. Which is contrary to the last time I had it out, because I had an issue with it. It was like just it was dying. You know, it was like I had an air leak or something and I couldn't figure it out. I was thinking maybe the only thing I had changed recently is I put that Snappy RC gas tank vent kit in it. And I was thinking, well, maybe something's fucked up. Maybe the gas cap's, you know, not, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck's happening. So basically I went through everything, checked everything, and reset my carb, and I fired it up, and it was running fine before I loaded these two up and put them in the truck, and it ran fine out there. It ran really well. But then something happened, and I'm like, what the fuck is that noise, right? Oh, by the way, I did this with a Dremel. I was pulling the wrong way with the blade at first, so I really did a fucking number on it. But as you can see, even though it was a Dremel and it was heating the plastic to the point of melting if I held it too long, it got a pretty clean cut, which if you guys have ever cut this kind of a body before, scoring it with a blade, man, it's a pain in the ass. I don't care how sharp your blade is. So now I just need to clean it up. And I was thinking about selling the body because I got another idea where I might go panels on this again, paint the panels that I have. But I don't think I can sell it at this point. I got some exhaust up inside it. I just don't think I can sell it. So I'm going to clean up those windows and run it. But what I was saying is I heard a noise and I was like, what the fuck just happened? So I drove it back to me, and before I could, you know, before anything bad happened, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe nothing is wrong. Maybe it's just me. So I take off again, and I'm like, nah, something's wrong. I can hear something. I thought maybe it was in the ass end, you know, in the gearbox, in the rear end. So I'm listening, and then I'm like, all right, fuck it. I just shut it off. Something was wrong. Then I went to roll it, and it had like a, you know, it locked up a bit in the roll. Guys, look what the fuck happened, right? This thing is covered, mind you. And I get home and I pull the cover off of it because I know at this point it's something to do with the spur and the pinion. Take a close look at that. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to try to get up on top of it. You can't see it, but needless to say, that is a grub screw embedded in the tooth from there. Of all things that can happen, once again, Murphy's Law. And it not only did it tear that, you know, fuck that all up. Shit. Yeah, it did a number on these teeth here, the ones below the pinion right now. And I got a really tight mesh. Well, not tight, but close enough to where if there's any issues in there, it's going to let you know. But yeah, it's embedded in it. Luckily, it didn't destroy anything else. I didn't thread lock it. I had this off so many times when I was putting the telemetry piece in. Once again, this telemetry shit, that I forgot to thread lock it. So don't make that mistake. That little son of a bitch came out of there. The first thing I noticed when I took it off was on the inside of the cover, I noticed that there was some scoring. And I was like, fuck, how could that be the spur gear? You know what I mean? Like, how did it come out that far to where it hit that? So I was like, something was in there. And again, I run it covered, so no rocks or anything can get in there, which kind of makes me think if I didn't run it covered now, I would have been fine. The fucking thing would have just flown off somewhere. So, you can't win, but needless to say, it's embedded in there. I need a new spur gear. Big deal. It's $10, but just a pain in the ass because it was running really good, and I was going to spend the time to bed the clutch, and I was thinking of maybe even siphoning the gas out of this one because I only brought enough, I brought what was in the tanks and I wanted to run it longer. But yeah, so I got about 10 minutes out of it. It was running really good, and I was just starting to get the clutch bedded when that happened. And I was contemplating going back to the 1757 gears so I could, have a better chance of getting this thing up in the air and wheeling with it. But with this engine and the way it revs, I would just be shooting myself in the foot. It wouldn't be. I wouldn't do myself any justice with that. gear setup. So this is an 1856. I'll just stick with it. You know, I could probably even go higher, but I think I like the way it performed from what I could see so far, the little amount of runtime that I have on this engine, which is really disappointing. But again, it is what it is with fifth scale and RC in general. And you know, I know a lot of us, the guys that actually have the money to you know, to do what we do, you know, it's like we make the time to wrench, but that's about it. You know, we're lucky that we're able to make that time. When it comes time to actually using the damn things, it's like, how do you do it? You know, most of us that have this kind of money that can do this kind of stuff, we're pretty put together, or we, you know, kids, wife, houses, all that good stuff, or we're single and we work a lot. So it's like, how the hell do you find the time? You know, just sucks. But again, is what it is. We'll get a new spur gear for it and get it replaced, and not forget to put thread lock on it this time. And that's it. That servo, telling you guys, don't sleep on the cheap shit. That thing was $13. And the factory one is 15 kg. The factory Roven one, this one here advertises 20 kg, and it advertises being able to handle a higher voltage. Like, I think it advertises on the side that it's I don't know what it says, like 8.8 or I don't know what it says, but it advertises like the average Lifey battery voltage. So it's capable of handling more voltage than a traditional 6, you know, like a 6-volt pack would give you. And I'm impressed with it. It works great. I still need to adjust my brakes. Once again, still have to mess around with those. Every time I've had this Baja apart and put it back together, it always seems like I'm screwing with that. But yeah, so as far as that's concerned, I just need to get that spur gear, and then I'm going to get it back out, and hopefully again get a chance to bed that clutch, finish bedding it, and run that engine in, so I can really stop beating the shit out of that thing and see what it does. These tires have had it, I think. Well, I shouldn't say they've had it, but there's really not enough bite left for me to feel like it, you know, I could get it up in the air, but it was lifting. There's just every corner on those knobbies has been worn down, and there's probably a good 1/4 of an inch missing. They're cheap tires, so I could buy another set, but I think I'm going to put 1/4 inch sheet metal screws, like the cold cutters. I'm going to put some 1/4 inch sheet metal screws in it, in the knobbies, and just see what I can do with that. That should get some bite, some traction, and it won't cost me but a few dollars. So, but yeah, so that's where we're at with that guy. Just needs a spur gear, and everything else was fine. I'm still having that issue with the telemetry and the RPMs. I think that telemetry sense is cooked, so I have a new one in my wish list. I think that it's like $8 or something. I just need to order it. The X2, the last time I took it out, it was running the balls. I was getting a lot of swelling. The front 2 wheels were really coning bad, and I never noticed that. I haven't noticed that at the track, but they were. So the guy I was running with, the guy that had that big boy, he asked me, he goes, do you tape your foams? And I said to myself, no, I don't. I never. Again, I guess it's just a newbie thing. I didn't think to do that when I put those J Concepts tires on there. So I definitely need to tape them. That G320 is powerful as hell. So I also need to thicken up the diff fluid in the front and in the center diff. There's just too much power going to the front, way too much power. And it pulls. I want it to push more than it pulls, you know what I mean? And I'm not getting that from this setup. So I think I really need to go hella thick in the front so that I can get, you know, because the power is going to go to the path of least resistance from what I've seen and experience with this thing. So I'm thinking if I thicken it up in the front and get it to a decent thickness in the center diff, I can you know, I can send some more of the power to the back of the truck. And I need to do something with these rear shocks. It's just got such a saggy shitbag kind of feel to it. And especially when I was running it on the grass, I noticed just how saggy it looks and how it performs just kind of like in the ass end. You know what I mean? It's all front end. The nose is up in the air because of all the power. I don't know. Something needs to be done about it. I know I'm going to start with changing the fluid in these shocks, the oil in these shocks, and I'm going to go super thick with it in comparison to what's in it. Nothing ridiculous, but in comparison to what's in it, which I think is like a 35 weight, I'm going to go ahead and thicken that up almost double if I can. If that doesn't sound retarded, I don't know, but yeah, so the diff's got to come out. I need to deal with that. Since I got this G320, I've been having an issue with the front. The first time I took it to the track, the front center drive shaft, the pin came out, and of course I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" You know, I was just getting it was just spinning. I was just getting RPM, no move, you know, no movement. So I thought it was a clutch. I didn't know what was wrong. Finally, I realized it was the front drive shaft. And what happens is when that happens, all the power is going to the front because of the way the diff's designed. So the truck doesn't even move. You know, it just rah, 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 and that I couldn't understand at first. So it happened again. I mean, I put the pin back in there. It was laying in the chassis. I put the rings back on, put the pin in, and wondered why it even came out. But it did. So this happened again the last time I had it out within a matter of 10 or 15 minutes. And the pin is missing now. The ring itself, you know how the little coupler has, that little cylinder has two rings on it. Well, one of the rings, the furthest one out to the end, is kind of worn. It doesn't have the same, you know, locking force that it had before. It's kind of warped. I saw that they have these coupler kits, these easy coupler kits that allow you to get that whole setup off easy. And they honestly look like they hold the system together better. FID sells one and Area RC sells one. AliExpress has them both. There's about a $20 difference in the two. I'm going to get either one of them, I think, because I have a feeling it may solve the problem. I think there's a $20 difference, I believe. Or maybe FID is giving you the front and the rear. I'm not sure. But either way, you guys could check it out if you want. But that is what I'm doing to this because it eliminates that whole ring setup. I feel like if I buy a new pin and put it in there, the rings that are on there are just going to fucking cause it to, I'm going to lose that pin too, you know, and who knows, maybe I broke the pin. I don't know, but it wasn't in there when I finally got around to pulling it apart. But yeah, so that's about it with that. And for this season, we're going to go ahead and get the fenders back on. I know that drove some of you guys nuts. We're going to get the fenders back on. I'm a better driver now. I shouldn't be crashing as much. I do have to say the low C, which, you know, some of you guys were like, well, duh. And yeah, I see that now, but the low C metal, the shock towers, they're far superior to the King Motor shit. I bent those King Motor ones, even the alloy ones, the red alloy ones, I bent them like tacos in one hit. You know what I mean? One end over end after the jump. So, and these low C ones took a beat. This low C one took a beating, and it's still in mint condition. So I'm going to put it all back together, and I just need to buy new side pieces. I have a new one of these, this piece here, because I cut it, of course. And so I'm going to need a left and right side rear cage piece. I have the whole bumper set up. And I am going to peel all of this off because it did take a beating and it got me through the season. And, you know, it's looking pretty rugged and ragged. But I'm going to peel it all off and I'll have a new wrap done. I think the same company, he did an awesome job. And, you know, it was relatively an easy deal. So, yeah, she'll be looking like a new truck. And I'm going to, you know, I'm going to run the fenders, of course. And that's about it. Other than that, she should be, the way she sits, she should be ready to rock and roll. You know, I just got to deal with the shock fluid, the diffs in the front, the coupler. The center diff seems to be working good with that slight shim that I did. And that 4-shoe clutch has still got an issue here and there where it like sticks at idle, you know, after high RPM. From time to time, I'll notice that it sticks, but it's getting less and less. It's like few and far between now. So I think as the clutch gets worn in, it's getting better and better. It's able to release itself better and better to the point where it's not grabbing when it comes back down from high RPM. I was just talking to a guy that I met through YouTube, actually. He's out in Ireland. Mark, he's the guy that I was telling you built a badass OBR Vector around the same time, about the same time I was building this. He was pretty much, we were like neck and neck as far as progress. And he had bought the Winchester clutch. I don't know if you guys have heard of that Tornado clutch that they sell on eBay. It's called the Hammerhead Tornado or something to that effect. It's a badass clutch if you haven't seen it, and a lot of good information he gave me about it, and dealing with the company that he dealt with, the one that sells on eBay. The actual company that makes it is out of California. I believe it's Winchester, and they make dirt bike parts and things like that, but for some reason they decided to make a 5th scale RC clutch, and you can find it on their website, but it's like obnoxiously expensive, so it's easier to buy through that third party on eBay. Unfortunately, it was on eBay last week for 130 bucks. I guess it comes with the bell, and it looks a hell of a lot better than the snapper clutch. And he said it performs better, way better design. Comes with carbon fiber discs right off the rip, as opposed to the snapper clutch. And again, comes with the bell. So total investment, 130 bucks. And they said that was their fall sale, which of course we know it's not fall, but yeah, it's gone now. It's no longer there. So I'm assuming they sold their last one. So I'm hoping they have some more, because I'm definitely interested in that clutch for one of these rigs. I don't know which one, but for one of them. I just really like those clutches. I don't know why. They just seem to me like they're the ideal thing to have for, this kind of a setup, as opposed to the simple FS clutch. But who knows? Maybe that FS is just a badass clutch. It was working really well. And to be honest, I was pretty impressed with the way it's right off the rip. It pulled the wheels up in the air with this. And I was only like, I had just like tapped the throttle, So yeah, stay tuned, guys. I know I did a lot of blabbing, but I just hadn't made a video in a while, and figured I'd catch up with you to let you know that the G5 is badass, and we're definitely going to get some runtime video. I promise. I'm getting a camera. I'm going to order it this week. I promise. Stay tuned, guys.